Hi guys, my name is Mayana and today I'm going to be doing an unhaul. So, for the past few years now, I have been growing out of the genre YA. If you guys haven't noticed, I don't really read a lot of YA anymore. Actually, honestly, I haven't read YA since like my first year on BookTube, and I'm going on my 5th year, I believe. No, it is my 5th year because my 5th year would have been in April. But yeah, I'm going on my 5th year and I haven't really read YA since my first year, so this is me getting rid of, like, finally letting go and getting rid of YA. Like, I keep trying to buy YA. I'm not done with the genre completely, but as a whole, if that makes sense, like if there's a YA book that, like, I'm like, oh, this sounds good, I'll pick it up, but like as a whole I kind of just like don't really care for YA. Like I don't know, like I just don't. And then there's also like some other books. There's not just YA in here, there's like thrillers in here, there is some adult books. So let me just get into it. I think I have like 70, almost 100 books. Okay, I don't know how you go from 70 to 100, but so let's just get into the unhaul. Okay, so first we have Rise to the Sun. This book was actually sent to me. I had this on my rainbow bookshelf and I kept it simply for the fact that it fit on my rainbow bookshelf so perfectly. And then when I was looking at the shelf, I was just like, I really like, I gotta get rid of books, like aesthetic or not, like some of these books gotta go. You guys know me, you guys know I'm really harsh on my unhaul, so I was even more harsh in this unhaul. I had no plans on reading this book when I got it. Sorry to Leah Johnson, like when her first book came out I wanted to read it. You Should See Me in a Crown. I didn't want to read it, but I don't care for YA, like especially YA in high school. Like I like old YA, like Morgan Madsen and stuff like that, but like I don't know how to explain it. It sounds dumb, but it's like, do you want to read You Should See Me in a Crown, but I just had no interest in like a book with prom, especially because I hated prom. I didn't hate prom, but I didn't, whatever. I had no interest in reading this book because I had no interest in reading You Should See Me in a Crown. I don't like books with music festivals, or I've never been to a music festival and it just didn't sound interesting. But I'm obsessed with the cover. Like this cover is so beautiful. I don't want to get rid of it, but it's gotta go. For the Wolf, this is supposedly a Little Red Riding Hood retelling, even though it really is not. I have read this book and I did not like it. I didn't hate it, it was just really boring to me. She gotta go. Bowmaker. Now I did like this book, but all in all it was still a 3-star read. There's nothing wrong with 3-star reads, it just was really boring. And I was just thinking like, okay, like I always think of like what my shelves when I finally get my own place, whenever that will be. I always think of my bookshelves when I finally get my own place and how I want to decorate them when I finally get my own place. And so that's why I'm always unhauling books. Like when I do finally get my, like, move out, like I won't have to take that many books with me, even though I have like 8 bookshelves. That's not here nor there. So when I think about like where I would place this, I have nowhere to put it. And also the book was okay. Like it was a good book, but it wasn't like life-changing or revolutionary or anything like that. So I have Emergency Contact. This book is really popular. I read it, it was okay. My sister loves this book and I love the cover and this goes well on my rainbow bookshelf, but I just gotta get rid of it. Like this was an okay book and it's not even YA, but it was just okay. Like Monday's Not Coming. My sister's read this and she told me the entire plot of it and I just don't like. I've never read a Tiffany Jackson book and her books just don't really sound like appealing to me. And I'm not gonna lie, all of Tiffany Jackson seems like they have to do with like black trauma, like in a way, and I just don't really want, like I do want to read her new Carrie book, inspired book that's coming out because I love Carrie, but I already know it's gonna have to do with like some trauma and I don't know. I don't want to set myself up. Like all of her books seem to have like black trauma, and then her book that didn't seem to have black trauma, the one that just came out last year, the paranormal one, it was paranormal. I have no interest in paranormal books, so I just don't have any interest in Tiffany G. Jackson. Like she's just not for me. I've never read a book and I just don't want to read a book. I don't want to read a book that has to do with trauma. I'm sorry. Like I just want to read books like, you know, everything and, you know, Rise to the Sun, where it's just black people being black people and not having to deal with like trauma in any kind of way. Like I just don't. I deal with that every day in my life. Why would I want to read it in a book when I read books to escape? Turnabout. This book was sent to me. I have another one of this books. It's somewhere else in this haul. That book was also sent to me. They keep sending me this book for some reason. I have no interest in it whatsoever. I don't know why I kept it anyway. I think I did want to read it, but like I don't have any interest. I was gonna read it, but I don't want to. Forest of Souls. I did read this book. This book was so boring. I tried to push through it. I really wanted to like it so bad. It reminds me of what is that book called? Six of Crows. What is that book called? Not Six of Crows, but the other one. The one that has like Warren and Rising in it. Why am I thinking of like the third book in the series and not the first one? Whatever it is, Lee Bardugo. This was just boring. This was so boring. And I wanted to read the sequel, but then I was like, no, this was so boring. I struggled to get to this. I don't want to read it. I would tell you the plot, but I'm so intrigued. I love this cover. I would tell you the plot, but I don't remember it and I don't care. Simone breaks all the rules. Like I said, I just have no interest in reading YA books. So I did, when I read it, I was like, oh, I want to buy it to support the author. And it does sound good, but it's like, I don't like books when like they lead up to prom for some reason. It's something about prom. Maybe it's like my trauma with prom. I didn't have a bad prom. Prom was not bad for me. It's just like I didn't care for prom. It wasn't great. My freaking crush confessed his love to this girl who ended up being my date basically. He like professed his love to her. Mind you, I've seen this girl maybe twice the entire year, and we ended up spending the entire prom together because neither of us had any other friends. My best friend was there, but she had a date, so she ditched me. And my crush professed his love to the girl that I was hanging out with my entire prom. And then it's like, I didn't have any friends. I didn't go to an after party. I literally spent the limo riding around with my mom, my sister, and my mom's boyfriend. Prom was not amazing to me. It wasn't life-changing. It wasn't revolutionary. Me and prom, we don't go well, you know? I want a prom do-over, and until I get that, me and high school prom books just don't. We just don't mesh. We just don't. Winter Song. I have no interest in reading this. Oh, I forgot to mention that some of these books I am unhauling, I'm going to be giving, like if I haven't read them, I'm going to be giving them a chance to. So I'm going to be doing a vlog where I like read books that I do plan on unhauling to decide if I officially want to unhaul them. So don't get y'all pennies in a twist, you know, when you're watching this video. Don't get too upset because there are some books, and you can even pick the books. If I've already read it, I'm not giving it a second chance. I'm sorry. But if you think I should read a book, then let me know. And I will do a vlog on it. I'm more than willing to give these books a chance. So don't think I'm like, this is like final say. Like, I'm going to be doing a vlog where I'm going to be reading books that I plan on. And I'm not going to tell you. So you can pick yourself. You know, you can vote down below which books I can read. And yeah. I bought these because, well, I didn't buy these. These were actually given to me. I kept them because Roshani Chasky is very beautiful. And I love her. And these were a retelling of some sort. I can't remember. I have no interest in this. I hate how this book has like this thing and then this book doesn't. I have no interest in reading this book. I had no interest when they gave it to me, but I kept it. Son of Storm. This book was just okay. I read this book a few months ago. It was fine. It was fine. But I just don't want to, I don't think I want to finish the series. Like, it was okay. I didn't like, it wasn't revolutionary. It wasn't life-changing. I love the cover, but I just don't care, if I'm being honest. This next book was supposed to be in my haul and then went straight to the unhaul. And you will be very shocked at this book. This book was ass, okay? This book was so boring. I wanted to like it. This book is about this girl and she lives in this world where people can like control shadows kind of, and she's a thief of some sort, a con artist, and this guy comes back into her life and gets her back into the con artist lifestyle. And I liked it because it has a lot to do with like, it talks about tarot cards and things like that, but I don't like the way they talk about tarot cards in this book. Like, she talks about, and I know it's like a fake world, but I just don't like the way that she talks about it. Like, she talks about it as if it's a scam, and like as if people are making these things up and like they're just doing these things to get money, and that's not what tarot cards are. And it's like she used the tarot cards correctly. She used the right, like she used King of Swords in reverse or King of Cups in reverse or something like that. One of those. And it had the same, like the character was saying the meaning, but I don't know, it didn't feel right, and it was just very boring. And there was no romance in here. And not that I needed romance, but when it's books like, you know, Holly Black or the author of Sorcery of Thorns, the authors who write really good romance and they don't write romance, I'm kind of just like, well, why am I reading this then? You know what I'm trying to say? Like, I don't need romance in a book for a book to be enjoyable. Holly Black is not my favorite author, okay? I thought she was. I have this rule where I have to read 3 books by an author to be my favorite author, and they cannot be in the same series. It has to be 3 separate books, 3 separate series, okay? Holly Black, I've liked The Cruel Prince. I'm unhauling The Darkest Part of the Forest, and I'm unhauling this one. And I'm unhauling one of her other books. The only good books that Holly Black has to me is The Folk of the Air. Now, do I like the Spider-Man Chronicles movies? Yes, I probably would have read them, but I'm not gonna read them now. Maybe I'll buy them for my children. What children am I having? I don't know. I don't know. Friday night, I bought this book because I thought I was gonna like it, and I had to buy the hardcover because I want the hardcover, and I know it's hard to find. I have an issue where, but it's not even an issue because I also did this with the Diviners, where like I know these covers are hard to find, and like I got them, so I like want to keep them for myself, but I don't care about the books. I don't do that. I'm not the kind of person who has to have something that everybody else doesn't have. Like, I'm really not that kind of person. But something about this, I don't know. But I'm like, I don't care about YA. This book isn't as, like, to me. Now, the book could be as good as everybody says it is. But to me, this book isn't good as everybody else says it is. So why am I holding on to it? So, the next book I have are Jennifer L. Armentrout. Jennifer L. Armentrout, 1, belongs in jail. 2, not the potential to be my favorite author. I thought she had the potential to be my favorite author, but her only good series is From Blood and Ash. So, I'm getting rid of White Hot Kiss, Every Last Breath, and Obsidian. Because I read White Hot Kiss. It was okay. It was fine. It wasn't like, it was fine. That's it. That's all. That's all I have to say. It was fine. So, I'm getting rid of these. So, The Dreadful Tales of Prosper Redding. It's a middle grade book, and I love this cover, but I just have no interest in reading middle grade, and my brother is getting to the age where he should be reading YA now, and he has no interest in reading middle grade. My brother's actually reading the Shadowhunter Chronicles, so I am forcing him, but that's neither here nor there. Curse of the Spectre Queen. Now, this one I do want to give a chance, because I don't know, I picked this up on a whim, but I don't know, I just don't want to read it and it's like subpar, you know. I think it's fine as it is. Okay, so this one is questionable. This one I am going to be reading. I gave this like unhaul to Jocelyn, and when I showed her this book, she physically screamed. This is her favorite book. Yeah, I don't know, I have no interest in reading it. Like, I did have interest in reading it, but I just don't have any interest in reading it. But I do, but I don't know. I don't know. I am going to be reading this for the vlog for sure. Here's another book that I'm definitely going to be reading for the vlog. It's Gear Breakers. Also, the cover for the second book just came out and it's so pretty. But it's just like I know that when I read it, because it's YA, like I'm going to read it and it's just going to be okay. Like, and there's nothing wrong with being okay. But it's like, that's how I feel about every single YA book that I read. Like, they just end up being okay, you know? And if the whole genre is okay, and then whenever I read adult books, they're like wonderful and amazing and life-changing, then I feel like that means that I should just be done with YA, you know? This Poison Heart, she gotta go. I love this cover. I don't want to get rid of this, but the book was okay. That's all. It was just okay. And then I have Cinderella is Dead. This is a paperback and this is a hardbook cover. These aren't a series, but that irritates me. That irritates the life out of me. And like the cover for the US cover for this one is just so beautiful. Like, well, you know what I'm trying to say? I wanted this one because this one's beautiful, but it came in paperback and I was like, you know? So these last two books, so basically I do want to sell these books on Depop. So these books that I'm holding up, I'm going to send these to Jocelyn. I am on hauling them, but I'm going to send them to Jocelyn as a test to make sure I can ship out things, and then I'm going to start my Depop. So yeah, but these books are Kingdom of Copper and Empire of Gold. And I couldn't find the original book in these special editions, and I bought these because they were very beautiful, prettier than the originals. And I read the series and it was just okay. It was just fine. But I just have no interest in reading the rest of the books. Like, I don't really care about the characters. Like, I like the characters, but I didn't like care about the characters. I didn't have like strong feelings about the characters. And I just like, I realized I kept putting off starting the series. So unfortunately, they gotta go. So I have Window Shopping by Tessa Bailey. I started this book. Make sure I got a bookmark in here. I started this book, you know, for Christmas. I was gonna do like a Christmas reading vlog. I could not make it through this book. This book is a Ted Lasso inspired book. I never watched Ted Lasso. I don't have Apple TV. I have way too many subscriptions. I don't need to add Apple TV onto it. So I don't even know what Ted Lasso is. Like, this does sound good, but I was just so bored. I was just so bored reading this book. So I said, I'm not finishing this. And I didn't. So why would I keep it? And then I have this Egyptian mythology book. I've been getting into Egyptian mythology while I was away. And this book was teaching me things that I already knew. The book did not teach me anything new. I've been doing my own research. I could have wrote this book myself, honestly. And then I have Meditations for Psychic Development. It's like a spiritual book teaching me things I already know. That's why I cannot read self-help books, like spiritual books like that, because they teach you things you already know. And I've been trying to tell people this, but nobody wants to listen to me. And I have The Baller by V. Keelan. This was, I read this one. This was okay. These like shirtless guys, like these type of Kindle Unlimited books, should just stay on Kindle Unlimited, and I'm learning my lesson from that. Yeah. Speaking of Kindle Unlimited books, I have Kingmaker, The Rebel King, and Queen Move. Now Queen Move, this one might stay. This one might stay. These two, however, have to go. I don't like Kennedy Ryan. I'm discovering her books are too like sweet. They're too like cutesy. They don't have enough angst in them for me. They don't have enough banter. Like the character. Let me make sure I leave a bookmark in here. That's what I need to be doing. Make sure I didn't leave a bookmark in these books, because I have a lot less bookmarks than I do. And so yeah, like I read this one. I just didn't. It was just too sweet. It was too like, where's the banter? Like, you know. So I didn't want to read them. Queen Move, I think I'll keep and I'll try to read. So yeah, I love how this is an unhaul, but I'm like, oh, like I'm gonna keep this one though. And then I have Vita Nostra. I'm just getting rid of this one because I have a hardcover. Actually, like quite literally, where did I put it? Oh, it's right here. I have a hardcover, so I don't need to keep the paperback. This was given to me by Jacob, my bestie. He didn't want it, so I was like, oh, I'll take it. He was like unhauling something, so I was like, oh, I'll take it. I don't want it either. I have the From Blood and Ash series. As you can see, I already own these, so there is no reason for me to keep the paperbacks. See, what I was doing was I was buying the paperbacks, and then when the hardcovers were released, I would just buy the hardcovers, and I had no problem with that. But it's taking up a lot of shelf space, and I have to be very like, I can't add any more shelves, so I really do have to be like cautious with like, you know, how much I'm buying now and what I'm buying and how many duplicates of books that I'm buying. I don't really care for paperbacks, and also these don't even like the size of these paperbacks don't even fit with like sizes of other paperbacks that I have. So I just already had them in hardcovers, so I really don't need them. These Violet Delights, I have no interest in this. I have tried to read this. I don't care. I really don't. I probably picked up this book and read one page. I just don't care. The Wolf and the Woodsman. I did try to read this, but I had an e-arc of this book. I remember I begged for this book. I wanted to love it so bad, but it was just so boring. It was so boring. I'm not going to subject myself to that. Okay, so we have like some thrillers here. So I have The Whisper Man, which I actually was filming this video. This book was on my shelf, and I was like, the video had cut off, so I had the time to go do other stuff. So I saw this book, and I was like, you can go too. So yeah, this is about this is a Whisper Man. This is about this man who like whispers in children's ear. Actually, I don't think that's what that's about. I don't know, and I don't care. That's not really talked about a lot. This is a book of the month pick, and for some reason, like I like buying. This wasn't a book of the month pick, but I remember I got this because this was a book of the month pick, and like when it was that month pick, like everybody was raving about it, and then suddenly everyone stopped. So I bought it because I didn't have book of the month at the time. So now I bought it, but clearly the hype, like nobody cares about this book, basically is what I'm trying to say. Nobody cares. The Other Black Girls. I read this book. Me and this book are mortal enemies. I have a bone to pick with this book and this author, and I hated this. It was ass. If you did read this book and you felt like you wanted more from it, watch the movie Bad Hair on Hulu. It's set in the 80s and it's filmed as though it was filmed in the 80s, and I feel like this did what that movie was trying to do a little bit, but that movie succeeded a lot more. And then I have Goblin, which I bought because I like the cover, and there's a bookmark here. See? I knew it. So yeah, I bought this book because I remember like a bunch of people were hauling it, and like Lala, like I watched her, she hauled it, so I hauled it basically. And then I was watching her vlog, and I had read this a few months ago and I wasn't really liking it, and then Lala had read it and she finished it and she didn't like it, and she said that the direction that it went in with this book was just like kind of problematic, and so I was like, well, there's no reason for me to keep this book then. So I really didn't like it. Next I have Crave. I did read and like Crave. I did enjoy this book. Like, as you can see, there's tabs in here. I did enjoy this book, but the series is too long. Like, I'm not about to sit here. There's like 7 books in the series. I'm not about to sit here and read all these books. Like, I'm sorry. It does not need to be that long. It does not need to be that long. I don't understand. It's not that great. It was good, but like it wasn't like revolutionary. Like, it didn't change the world. So I read this book for a vlog, which maybe I'm trying to remember to link it. Is where I read paranormal books, and I read like the knockoffs of those books, and then I read, so like people say this book was Twilight, so I read this and Twilight, and then I read the Vampire Academy, and then I read Jennifer Armentrout. She needs to be arrested. I'm telling you, I don't know how she's getting away with plagiarism as long as she is, but I digress. This is nothing like Twilight. I don't know why people were saying that. And it's like, I had so much fun reading this book, but it was not good enough. Like, I bought these 2 because I was gonna read them. They're humongous, they're long, and I just don't care. Like, I just don't care. Maybe I'll come back around to it, like if it sounds that great. But another middle grade book, Thieves of Weirdwood. I don't even remember buying this. So there's that. I don't know why I would have bought this. Yeah, when I got it, I don't remember buying this, but I remember when I got it, I was gonna force my brother to read it, and he didn't. And like, now that he's getting into YA, there's really no reason for me to keep this. I remember I tried to give him this book. I tried to put it on his bookshelf, and he put it back on my bookshelf. If the Shoe Fits. Me and Julie Murphy are mortal enemies. This book was sent to me by Disney Books. Me and Julie Murphy are enemies. And then they sent me Jasmine Guillory book. We're in this series. We are also mortal. I don't know what it is with this series and why they have all of my author enemies in there, but me and Julie Murphy are enemies. Okay, Julie Murphy has done nothing to me. She's not really my enemy. But I read Pumpkin and I didn't like it, and I read Pudding. Pudding was okay, but I didn't like it. I don't like the way she wrote the character in Pumpkin. Like, it just makes me irritated because it has such good rep in that book, but the character was so unlikable that I just could not bear it. Like, the main character was so unlikable. And then the second book, the main character was a pushover. The character was likable. She wasn't likable, but she was a mean girl, and then she ends up having like a good redemption arc, and she ends up being more likable than the main character. And it just sucked because it makes me feel guilty for liking the skinnier character more than the main character. I don't know why I'm giving y'all a book review of Pumpkin and Pudding when this is about If the Shoe Fits. But basically, I don't like the way that Julie Murphy writes. That's what I'm trying to say. I don't know why I couldn't have just said that. I have to give y'all a long story, but whatever. Red Wolf. This was supposed to be a Little Red Riding Hood retelling. I bought it. Had no interest in reading it. I read the description. Sounds ass. Don't care. The Cricket Place. I read another book by this author. Her Little Mermaid retelling was... I didn't finish it. It was so boring. I don't know why I picked this one up. I picked this one up at the library, and then my library, like, whatever ran out. My library hold ran out, so I just bought the book, and then I never finished it, and I don't care to finish it. It's a found family trope, and I love found family, and that's what got me. Got Grown by Tiffany Jackson. I've already said my feelings on her. I don't care to read her. This is an art. Obviously, when I make my Depop, I'll probably have this as an add-on with Mondays Not Coming. So, The Hidden Artist. I was gonna do this vlog where I read Reese Witherspoon's book club book picks, but then I decided I don't care to do that. So, House of Hollow. I got this book because it was really popular. I tried to read it. I started it. It was very boring. YA just does not do it for me. I'm sorry. Fate of the Fallen. I started this book. This book was so boring. This book was so boring. I wasted an audiobook credit on that. And if you guys know, last year I did not have the audiobook credits to be wasting because Audible told me, girl, you returned so many books, we're putting you on a ban for a year. So I did not have the audiobook credits to just be reading anything. And this book wasn't wasting an audible credit. I'm very upset. The cover is very pretty, but the book itself is boring. as hell. Jennifer Armentrout, My Enemy. And then The Turnabout, which is a book that I unhauled earlier. I realized the cover had changed. But yeah, I don't care, so I'm getting rid of it. Oh, here's the other book. I don't care. I'm surrounded by stacks of books, which would be heaven essentially, but yeah, books I'm getting rid of. Magic for Liars. I got this book because Lala hauled it in a video and I was like, oh my gosh, it sounds great. So then I read it. It was not great. It's essentially about these two twin sisters. One has magic and one is a private investigator. I love private investigators. I believe I could be a private investigator, or in another life I was. Someone at this magic school like dies and they can't use magic to find out who it is, so they go to the main character who doesn't have magic, and she ends up going to the school. The school is essentially like Harry Potter, but like you don't learn much about the school. Like I think this book needed to be longer, and I think we need to know more about the school, but it was like okay. And like I love this cover, but unfortunately the book, yeah. I bought Reality Boy by A.S. King. I was gonna do a reading vlog. I love reality TV shows, so I was gonna do a reading vlog where I read books that were like based off of reality TVs or had the aspect of reality TV shows. But then I realized I'm not that kind of girl who does like themed vlogs. Like the idea of forcing myself to read a book for a vlog just does not appeal for me. Reading for experiments is kind of just not my thing, I think, unfortunately. So this would have been a great idea for a vlog, but I just didn't care enough because I have so many books that I want to read, so then forcing myself to read for an experiment like gets in the way. I'm about to get canceled. Let me make sure I didn't leave a bookmark in here. I did. This was by Jimlyn. I love her. Follow Jimlyn Seal on Instagram. Her art is so freaking beautiful. I started this, I read it. I literally have tried to read this book 7 different times. I was supposed to buddy read it with my friends. I started on my own. I started the audiobook. I started the ebook. Like I just I couldn't do it. I cannot get through this book for some reason. So why keep it and force myself 17 more times if I literally can't make it through it? The Never Tilting World. I'm getting rid of this book because okay, I bought this book because this author they took part in like canceling like, you know, these other authors, and so I wanted to buy their book to support them, but then they got canceled. Then I got canceled for being racist. So I was like now I'm still dealing with like how I want to go about like separating the art from the artist. So I'm not gonna lie, it's gonna be really hypocritical like as I decide like how I want to go about this situation. Not this situation in general, but like authors like separating the art from the artist, because there's a lot of authors I said I would never read, and then they had problematic, and I will admit to that, like I've said I wouldn't read them. They've had problematic things, and then I've read their books just because their books are really popular and I'm very curious. Curiosity killed the cat. I'm a very curious person. So like I will admit, like very hypocritical. I'm trying to decide like how I want to go about like separating the art from the artist, because personally I kind of don't mind separating the art from the artist. I'm not gonna lie. Like Sarah J Maas, I did read her book. Do I support her as an author? No. Did I enjoy Crescent City too? Yes. Do I like her? No. See what I'm saying here? It doesn't make sense, but it's my choice. So what can I say? Half a King by Joe Abercrombie. I bought this and I realized, well, I knew it was a middle grade. I knew it was a YA book. I just don't have any interest. I don't have any interest. I don't have any interest. And this cover is very beautiful. I just don't care. And it doesn't even fit with his other books. So, Summer of Suns. I read this. I went in thinking it was going to be one thing. I came out with it being another thing. And it's not even like I thought it was something. Like I read the description, I thought it was going to be a gothic novel. I came out with street racing in a ghost bestie. I don't know. I personally didn't really enjoy it. It's not for me, and that's fine. So I am going to be unhauling it. Gideon the Ninth and Harold the Ninth. I read Gideon the Ninth. I was very confused. A lot of people said that they were confused, and I didn't mind being confused, but the more time went on, the more I realized I just don't want to read the book. Like I just don't want to read Harold the Ninth. I don't care. Like even with like Nona the Ninth, like I just don't care to read it, basically. These Hollow Vows. So I read this book as an art. I thought it was okay. I bought the book because I love Faye so much, and now that the second book is coming out, I realized I don't care. This was purely a cover buy. I did read this book. I thought it was fine, but I'm going to be getting rid of it because who cares? Why would you give me a book? I love love triangles. Why would you give me a love triangle? They make a triangle. Why would you give me a love triangle? And the two guys are both losers. You didn't even give me fun tropes between the love triangles. Why would I care? Why would I want that? I picked this book up. I thought this was an Alexandra Bracken book, and I was like, how did this get back in my pile again? But it's not. I just heard that I thought this book was interesting because everyone made it sound interesting, but then I went to go look at the reviews and everybody was like, this book is very boring, nothing happens, and I was like, yikes. So yes, unfortunately I will be getting rid of this book. So yeah, that is this very, very long unhaul. Thank you for watching. Thank you for coming. Let me know what books you think I should give another chance if you want to see that vlog, and I'll see you guys in my next video.